So to go into some of the news that came out, where this is March 1st. So yesterday, or was it today, Masvidal put out a video on his YouTube alluding that he will be returning August or September of this year to fight Kamaru Usman. I'm pretty disappointed that this rematch was booked because it makes no sense to me that Masvidal loses in July 2020. He fought prior to that November 2019, loses July 2020, and then doesn't fight until August or September of 2021, and fights the same guy that he lost to July 2020, when there's other people that I think are more deserving, namely Colby Covington, or at least have another fight or something to determine, or Masvidal should be fighting someone else to even prove if he's worth fighting.
We talked about this last week, and then when we put that video out, there were a bunch of comments on the video basically saying stuff like, oh, Colby. People are saying like, oh, Colby needs to prove himself. Colby needs to prove himself. I'm like, okay, well, Masvidal needs to prove himself. Why is that fight being booked and the Colby fight isn't being booked? Masvidal didn't give Usman the run for his money that Colby Covington did. So I don't get it. I mean, and if we're talking about just straight from you want to make money standpoint, from the business standpoint, I would think that the Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman rematch would generate a lot more buzz. I mean,
who knows, man? I was actually gonna say maybe the pay-per-view for the Usman and Masvidal did better, and frankly, it probably did, but that's also because you had two other title fights on there too, so that might skew those figures a bit. I don't know. Yeah, and the other thing that again, Helwani and DC, I think were mentioning today on their show was that given that that's probably going to be August, September, that they might do the Ultimate Fighter, that the reality show that the UFC hasn't had for some time now. They might have Usman and Masvidal be the coaches, and then they have their title fight after. So that's nicely situated. Look, I'm going to watch the fight, of course, but I just in terms of like merit-wise, who should have. You could argue that, yeah, sure, maybe it shouldn't have been Colby. Like you could make, but I don't think no one's going to convince me that Masvidal should have been the one that's having that fight versus anyone else.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing really more to say on that, dude, because we really beat that horse last week, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of upsetting to me because it's one of it goes back to like the Conor thing, the Conor Khabib thing. You know, people are like, oh, Conor should fight Khabib again. Conor should fight. I'm like, why? Why would he fight Khabib? Why would Khabib fight him? He already beat the shit out of him, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and we know what the result is going to be.
And with Poirier too.
Yeah, like we know what the result is going to be after a rematch. There's no point. So this is kind of the same thing. I feel like, Usman's going to destroy Masvidal. I don't think there's any question about it. But having put Usman up against Colby may have actually ended up in, or even another guy, like you were saying, it's very possible that putting him up against another guy may have produced a different result. But I don't think fighting Masvidal is going to give us that, what we're looking for, which is a good fight. I mean, we might have an entertaining fight, but I don't think it's going to be what it could potentially have been. Let's say.
Yeah, I think we did this last week, but so welterweight, number 1, Colby, number 2, Gilbert. Obviously, it's not going to be Gilbert. He just lost. Well, I shouldn't say obviously because Masvidal lost, and then his next fight it's going to be against Usman. Then you have Leon Edwards. Leon's fighting next Friday. And then you have Jorge Masvidal at number 4, and then you have Stephen Thompson at 5, who recently fought, and I think he's hurt. And you had Michael Chiesa, who recently fought, and
he's hurt.
Chiesa after his last win. Yeah, exactly. Michael Chiesa after his last fight called out Colby. I still think the mistake Colby made was by not stepping in and fighting Leon Edwards, because then if he beats Leon Edwards, there is no question that he will be fighting whoever the champion is at that point. But he didn't do that. And now, honestly, who do you put Colby Covington against? Gilbert Burns has said, hey, Colby, let's fight. Leon Edwards is fighting Bilal Muhammad. Masvidal is fighting Usman. Thompson is hurt, unless they wait for him to heal up. And actually, I think Stephen Thompson, maybe said something to fight Colby. I just mentioned Chiesa said he wants to fight Colby. Now we're already at number 6. Colby's not fighting anyone else outside of that. He already beat Woodley. He already beat Damian Maia. He's not fighting Neil Magny. He's not fighting Luque. He's not fighting any of these other guys. So it's a weird situation with Colby. It's like, well, now what do you do?
Well, I'd be curious.
It's the welterweight division is kind of in a weird place.
Do you think he could like move up a weight class? I don't know. I don't know if he'd survive in middle, but could he potentially move up? Considering that our boy is in middle and he's not performing either.
Colby Covington he has the height. He's 5'11". I didn't realize he was that tall. I don't know, man. Colby like looks like 170. Like, you know how there's certain fighters that, like, Usman does not look like 170. Usman looks like 185. He looks like a middleweight. And granted, obviously after weigh-ins, they fluff up, but even at weigh-ins, like while they're on the scale, I'm like, how the hell is that guy 170 pounds? But when I look at Colby, I'm like, yeah, he looks like someone that's 170 pounds. He's not moving divisions. He's not gonna do that. The only reason he would is if he secured a welterweight and then for whatever reason he decided, I want to go take another belt, but I don't know if he would even do that. So it's a weird position for him. The division is kind of, again, this little bit of a... So you're going to have number 4 is going to be fighting the champion. Number 3 is going to be fighting number 13. That's Edwards and Muhammad. And then, I don't know, maybe Burns and Covington. I wouldn't mind seeing a Burns and Covington fight. I think that would be an interesting fight. But, yeah, I don't know. So that was the news regarding Masvidal and Usman that came out. Again, I forgot if that was yesterday or today. And then the other news, like,
it just goes to show. But before you go into that, I just want to point out, it just goes to show that what everybody was saying about Usman not ducking Colby is literal bullcrap, dude.
Yeah, we had put that out. We had put that video out a few days ago, and like the comments were pretty split about it. We had like 20 comments or so. About half were saying he is ducking him. Half were like, you guys are stupid. You're casuals. You're clowns if you think he's ducking him.
Yeah, he's ducking the number 2 in the division, dude. Okay, yeah. Come on, man. Get with the program. So, Kamaru Usman doesn't want to lose. If he fights Colby, there's a chance he's going to lose. If he fights Masvidal, I don't see it.
I do. One person says something that I did understand their point. They're like, Colby lost to Usman. After losing to Usman, he fought a pretty crappy Tyron Woodley, and he hasn't fought anyone else since.
That might not be his fault, though.
It kind of is. It is his fault by not taking the Leon Edwards fight, for example. He could have taken that fight. He didn't.
That's true. He could have taken that one.
So I was like, oh, that's a fair point. So I'm not saying it has to be Colby Covington next to fight him, but it just my point is more, it doesn't make sense to me that it's Masvidal fighting him, because he lost to him and fought no one else. Actually, I'm glad I've said this. So Masvidal loses to Usman, right? July 2020. Now he's fighting no one else, and somehow he gets a rematch against Usman for September 2021 or August 2021. How about our boy Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker? This guy got piped by the UFC, by Dana White, I would say. Why do I say that? So he fought Izzy, right? So Izzy, he fought Izzy in 2019. He lost to Izzy. He lost his belt. Okay. That was October 2019. So let's look at October 2020. So he loses to Izzy. Does he get a rematch? No. So his first fight after losing to Izzy is against Darren Till. He beats Darren Till. Okay. Fast forward a couple months, he fights Jared Cannonier. He beats Jared Cannonier. Okay. So he's beat 2 top 5 guys now. After losing to Adesanya. So you would think, okay, so he's fought 2 people now. He was a champion. He lost, but then he immediately beat 2 top 5 guys. So he's probably he's going to fight for the title. No. Now he has to fight Paulo Costa next month. I don't get it. So you have a former incumbent champion that loses, and then you're putting him through 3 top 5 fights, and then hopefully after, if he were to beat Costa, hopefully this guy's next fight is a championship fight. But then you have Masvidal, who just due to one flying knee has propelled his stardom.
Thank you. I'm glad you actually said it, man.
Yeah, so
That's what it is.
Look, he's beat people. I'm not going to say he hasn't beat people.
No, but that's
I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. But if for just within the divisions, within the UFC, it doesn't make sense how you have Robert Whittaker going through the ringer.
No, it does make sense, man. We've talked about this before. It's the fact that they're showmen. Masvidal's a showman. Yes,
I'm speaking it just completely on merit. I'm not
completely on merit.
And Whittaker said the same. Whittaker has said as much. Whittaker's like, he's like, I'm not gonna be that guy that goes and does all of this. He's like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And he very clearly said like he wants to fight, but like if Izzy wants to go up to 205 and fight, then that's his prerogative. Like he's okay with that. And then somehow Dana spun that to Whittaker doesn't want to fight for the title. He's like, dude, I didn't say that at all. So Whittaker. I like Robert Whittaker. He's a cool dude, and he's a hell of a friggin' fighter, man. This guy's an animal. So I don't like that he got done dirty like that. And then you look at Masvidal, and then he's gonna get a back-to-back title fights, even though he lost one, and he's probably gonna get an Ultimate Fighter gig with Usman too. It's tough. It's unfortunate. So I understand why, but it's still on merit, it makes no sense. Like you're having a guy that was the champion that lost, going through 3 title fights, versus a guy that was not the champion that lost, gets an immediate rematch for the title. And it's not like Moreno and Figueiredo, which also that was another news that came out, is that rematch has been rebooked. I
don't know why.
What do you mean?
No, because it was a draw, right?
It was a draw. It was a draw. Yeah. It was a hell of a fight. So that one, I believe, is June 12th.
I don't know if I want to rewind the clock.
Rebook that. Why?
I don't know.
Why? I can't imagine anyone that does not, besides you apparently, that does not want to see that fight again.
I mean, like, it's not that I don't want to see it. I think maybe like it needed some breathing room, because like
it's been 6 months. It'll be 6 months by the time they fight.
Has it really been that long, dude?
They fought December.
By the time they fight. Yeah. Okay.
They fought December 12th, I think, and they're fighting June 12th. Something like that, or December 13th. But so that one makes sense though, because you had them fight. Those two fought and it went to a draw. So immediately Dan is like, we're rebooking that. I'm like, yes, that makes sense because they fought to a draw. There was no concrete winner. So you run that back. That makes sense. But not the guy clearly loses in Masvidal and then you run it back. I don't know. That was frustrating. Sucks for. I mean, it sucks, not that it's directly correlated, but it does suck for Whittaker. I wonder if he's thought about this himself. I don't know if he's spoken about it, but I would be curious if he's been like, he looks at that situation, he's like, what the hell, man? This guy he's getting to do this. He's getting a rematch, and I have to fight 3 top 5 guys to maybe get a rematch.
There's definitely like favoritism that occurs. That much is obvious.
Of course.
Yeah, but it is unfortunate.
I don't know, dude.